My name is Carol Gardner, and I'm the creator of Zelda Wisdom, also Zelda's best friend.
This is Zelda, the dog who sparked the Zelda Wisdom collection. Over the past 10 years, Carol, using wigs and costumes, turned this lovable mug into a multi-million-dollar business.
There are hundreds of Zelda products. There are Zelda mouse pads, there are Zelda slicing boards, there are Zelda cookie jars. It just goes on and on.
But the climb to the top for this dog was no walk in the park.
The beginning of Zelda Wisdom started, actually it was a result of my divorce. I had a divorce attorney who knew how bad the circumstances were, and she said, "You have huge debt, you have no job, things are not looking good, Carol. You need to either get a therapist or a dog." The more I thought about it, the better the dog sounded, so I chose dog.
Carol set out to find the perfect pooch.
As soon as I realized that a dog was what I needed, that would be the best therapy because it'd be 24-hour day therapy for me, I started looking in the classified ads. And one ad caught my eye. It was an ad for a 4-month-old English Bulldog female. And I just thought, here's your opportunity. Let's go look at it. And so I went to look, walked in the door, and love at first sight. And we both really needed love. It was a mirror image of how I felt in my heart, no question. And we found each other. So I went over and just picked her up and hugged her and wrapped in a little blanket and said, "Okay, this is mine." When I met Zelda, I kept thinking, what am I going to name her? And I walked into the library and saw there was a book on the table that was an autobiography of Zelda Fitzgerald. And it was in big script, it said Zelda. And I thought, what a perfect name. And I thought, how great that it starts with a Z, because my life had been going so sideways and so downhill. I thought, what looks like the end might really be the beginning.
Carol had her canine companion, but she wasn't out of the doghouse yet.
I was going through some very, very tough times because I inherited huge debt and I didn't have a job. So I thought, whoopsie, I better sit down, take stock, and find a solution. And I realized that I'd been a creative director in advertising, that I loved my dog, and I kept thinking, well, how can I put these two things together? A friend came by and told me that our local pet store was having their annual Christmas card contest, where you photograph your pet, write a one-liner, and the winner gets 40 pounds of dog food every month for a year. At that time, our cupboards were pretty bare, so the 40 pounds of dog food, I remember looking at Zelda and going, okay, Zelda, you get 20, I get 20. But it sounded like something I could do. It was a very positive move for me. So I sat down and I started writing one-liners. And I wrote and I wrote and I wrote. Finally came up with a line that I thought, this is daring, this is different, so I'm gonna go for it.
Carol was sure she had the winning line. Now, all she needed was the perfect picture to go with it. Zelda, despite being a little short, a little pudgy, and lots of wrinkles, was about to begin a very successful modeling career.
I needed Zelda in a Santa suit, so I borrowed a Santa hat from a friend and filled the bathtub with bubble bath, put my little 60-pound sweetheart into the bathtub, put the bubbles up around her face, and added the hat and zoomed in with my disposable camera and went click. And we added the one-liner, for Christmas, I got a dog for my husband. Good trade, huh? A couple weeks later, in the mail, here comes this letter from the pet store, and rip it open, it says, congratulations, you and Zelda are our grand prize winner. You're gonna be getting 40 pounds of dog food every month for a year.
40 pounds of dog food was probably enough to keep Zelda happy, at least for a while.
You like this?
But Carol knew that would only be the first ingredient in this recipe for success.
When I won the contest, a light bulb went on in my head. Maybe, just maybe, My solution would be to start a greeting card company. There were no card lines that featured a live dog with a name. There were a lot of different dogs, but they appear once, they don't have a name, and you never see them again. And the other thing I noticed was there wasn't any wisdom in greeting cards. They'd say, how many funny ways you say happy birthday, but there weren't cards that I wanted to put on my refrigerator or keep on my desk. There weren't smart cards that had some wisdom included. So we came up with the company Zelda Wisdom. How cute is that? Make sure your hair's not in your eyes.
So Carol got an old pack of friends together and begged for some help.
In the beginning, trying to put a team together when you have not only no money, but huge debt was never an easy step. So I put on my thinking cap and said, okay, I can't hire these people, but I can make them partners. Pretty gorgeous. The first person I needed the best photographer I knew. This is Shane Young's Zelda's photographer. I didn't tell him right away what it was for. I said, oh, I have an idea. Why don't we get together for dinner?
When Karen and I first talked about this, she said she had this idea, but she didn't want to talk over the phone because she thought I'd poo-poo it. And I would have.
Yeah, you look really good.
We sat down, and she basically pulled out of her purse this 5-page business plan, this vision she had of dressing up her dog, creating an icon out of her dog, giving it a voice, giving it a world to live in.
Yeah, look tough.
You can imagine what was going through my mind, this crazy lady.
Fortunately, you had worked with me before.
Yeah, exactly. There's a little bit of history there, so I gave her a shot. I kind of knew there was a possibility just because she had this great vision and also her past work. I had a lot of respect for her.
Carol and Shane's working relationship evolved after Carol wrote a book called Bumper Sticker Wisdom.
Associated Press sent him to Portland to interview me for Bumper Sticker Wisdom.
I was sent out to do a story on this woman named Carol Gardner, to photograph her to go on with the story's AP story. And really from the beginning, when she opened the door and we first chit-chatted, I kind of fell in love with this woman. She was engaging, funny, articulate, witty. We had a great time.
And it was his idea to cover the back of my Jeep in bumper stickers, have me climb up on top and hold the Bumper Sticker Wisdom book.
And it looked pretty good, but I realized, I didn't have the right backdrop. And so I said, Carol, see those roof rack you got up there in your Jeep? Hold on, dear, we're gonna go for a ride. So we literally kind of drove around the parking lot until we found the right spot, and we were both laughing all the way, and at least I was laughing. I'm not sure what she was doing.
It was a very successful photograph, ended up this size in thousands of newspapers all over the country.
Carol had her photographer.
One of the main reasons for Zelda's success. He captures
keep going,
Zelda.
Carol. Just keep going, yeah.
Now they needed pictures, and working with Zelda was like working with any typical model. She wasn't about to take any bull.
In the beginning, when Zelda was probably 1 or 2 when we started shooting, it was a lot more challenging.
It did take more work.
I remember being a little bit frustrated the first time I photographed Zelda, because we literally have to light half the studio because her she'd just be running around and there's no, I couldn't say, sit on the spot please, Zelda. Now she'll do that.
This was Zelda's first costume we did, and it was her signature costume, and it's on every Zelda product, and it also defines our company. Sexy. Do you want to put a tune out?
I hadn't really shot dogs. I'd literally come from, shooting personalities like Michael Jordan, and shooting presidents, CEOs and personalities. I'd never shot a dog, and so that was a whole new challenge for me. And I think one of the reasons why I really, after that first shoot, was really kind of taken by her was her face. Her face is phenomenal. Her bloodshot eyes, the wrinkles. Okay, the slobber I could do without, but just all those different elements that make her Zelda. As a photographer, I was really excited about.
But the greeting card biz is a dog-eat-dog industry.
I did the research on the greeting cards and learned that 97% of startup companies fail.
So Carol had to make sure she was putting her best paw forward.